Hey everybody, and welcome to another video. This week I am going to include week 4, 5, and I believe 6 just because I got a little behind due to some unforeseen circumstances. So here we have Jazzy in our front pasture just kind of playing around. You could see how much she loves to run and just having a good time. It's funny enough that she bucked like that because she's never bucked with me under saddle, but it was a little interesting to see that she has it in her. Now in this next clip I have a good friend of mine, Mike Gifford, who is a wonderful farrier during her feet, and he's great at taking enough time for the horse to feel comfortable and do it safely both for him and the horse, and Jazzy did absolutely amazing. We decided not to tie her just so we had a little bit more control and she didn't feel as trapped in, but there was no need for any sedation or any kind of dorm to ease her at all. So she did this without any sedation and just on her own merit. Now I believe this all occurred in week 4, getting a little confused of my timeline, but here I'm taking Jazzy to a local riding facility down the hill from us, and she was a little nervous about getting in the trailer because I put a hay bag in and that was just something different and a little confusing for her, but she didn't pull back. She went right in anyways and did really well with that. And after we got all loaded up, we head down at the hill to what's called Grace Ranch, funny enough, and it has a lovely indoor arena, or covered arena. And I had a good friend of mine, Rebecca, ride her, which is a little funny because Rebecca has never ridden English before, but she did great. Trotted her around a little bit, and this was Jazzy's first time having a different rider on her back and even in a new location. So that was all a lot for her, but she did great. She handled everything really well, all of the spooky stuff on the outside of the arena and inside the arena, as well as all the other horses around. They had this really nice track around the outside of their property that we took a short trail ride on with Jazzy and Rebecca's horse Reno, who I believe is a 3-year-old rescue as well, and they both did great. Now this next week we took Jazzy to the lake, which is about 5 minutes from our house, and I rode with a group of friends I met on Facebook, and we did really well. Jazzy was super awesome. No spook, no rear, no buck, no takeoff. She absolutely loved getting in the water. Did it on the first time asking and wanted to go deeper than I was willing to. Here we're at a horse show and we're jumping around a little bit because I didn't have any videos of the in-between. But we're at a horse show with Jazzy and my other gelding, Just a Dream. And she gets a mess in the trailer. I don't know what she does. But my other horse was clean. Here we are, we put up our banners for Equine Advantage, great sponsor. And Jazzy did really well with all the other horses warming up. There was a tiny warm-up area with no fencing. And I don't know why I decided to do a horse show with a horse that had less than 60 days on her. But we did it, and she was amazing. I asked her to do a lot of things I've never asked her to do before, such as this side pass. We've never side passed an object before, and she did it just like a regular old trail horse would. She did really well with the jog over. She didn't need much enticing or pushing to go over, and it was quite tight, and heading towards the other horses can sometimes get other horses nervous. Here she gets a little nervous. You can see there's a blue cowboy cutout, and she's never seen anything like that. And we were actually supposed to drag an object, but again, I've never done that with her. And so I just decided I'd be happy with her if we walk around it in a calm manner and move on from there. We were only schooling, so there was no pressure on her to make sure she had to do everything. So if she didn't feel comfortable, and I knew it might have been a little dangerous to drag something for the first time in a new environment, we just skipped it, and you could see she kind of jumped at the cowboy right there. But I just keep asking her to walk around it and kind of give her some reassurance, and we go to the next obstacle. And right there she had a little spook. There was a kid sitting on the fence, and for some reason he was kicking the dirt and just kind of spooked her. I don't know why. And here we have a bridge that has some brush over the top of it to make it look more natural. And she wasn't quite used to that, but then again, I asked her to continue on, and after a little bit of checking it out, she walked right over it. This next obstacle is a rope gate, and again, I've never done any of this with her. We're still working on our side pass, so I was really surprised that she actually did it. And she did it really well, especially since she's not yet neck reining, and we had to stay in between the poles for the next obstacle, which was a back through. Throughout all these obstacles, I'm asking her to take little steps of waiting, because I see a lot of people rush their horses through, they get flustered, so I'd rather have my horse want to stop and stand there than take off backing or walking through an obstacle uncontrolled and bash into all the poles on the ground, which if we were actually showing would dock points. And she did amazing. People were very impressed with her. Hardly anyone knew that she only had 30 days or 60. I think she had 45 days on her here. A good friend of mine is a photographer, and these came from her Facebook page, Spurby Designs. You can find her at local California horse shows sometimes, and she takes the best photos. So here are some of our photos from our trail class that really show how in tune she was and willing to go over the poles and some of the obstacles. Here's our next class, and I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, but I decided to enter a Mustang into a walk jog rail class with several other horses, which for a lot of people who work with young or unbroke horses know that sometimes when they're in with other horses trotting, it could be kind of a fiasco, them wanting to run forward, kind of race the other horses, or especially for Mustangs, seeing other horses trot or run around can make them a little bit more nervous that there's something that can put them in danger. And we weren't allowed to warm up in this pen, so this was actually her first time being in this arena. And she did really well. There's people in the announcer's booth. There's my friend, the photographer, in the corner with her camera clicking, and people along the fence. And she did really well, even walking, even when we actually went to jog. I made sure to put enough space between myself and the other horses just so we didn't get bottled up and make her more nervous. Here she kind of calls out. I have my gelding standing there with my father, and she wanted to kind of make sure he was still there, make sure she was comfortable, and that he's not going anywhere. Here they ask us to jog, and I was a little nervous because I was going right past the announcer's booth with the people in it, and I just kept my leg on, and she walked right, or trotted right by it. And I was really impressed with how well she did. I believe in this class we had to show walk, extended walk, jog, and extended jog. And I believe we're showing extended jog here because I'm posting and going a little bit quicker. And again, she didn't want to go quite deep enough in that corner because of the photographer, and here you can see she kind of veers away from the fence because the people are standing there. But other than that, she didn't spook at anything, any of the banners, any of the bleachers, or the poles on the ground, and just did really well with the whole environment. And because I wasn't showing and I was only schooling, meaning I'm not necessarily being judged, I made sure to give her a lot of reassurance with my voice and by patting her on the neck and just making sure she's comfortable that I'm up there, and that she's focused on me and not necessarily the environment around her. So this day I only was able to do 2 classes with her and a few others with my other gelding. Unfortunately, we got a notification that we were being evacuated due to a wildfire at our house, which was about an hour and a half away. So we had to pack up real quick and head home to make sure we could get all of our animals and things out safely. I'll go into a little bit more detail on the evacuation and what happened to our animals in another video, but this was our last class of the day, and I was so pleased with Jazzy. She's going to be a great showing horse for someone, and I feel that she's super safe, and I could just trust her to take care of me in any situation. A huge thank you to my sponsor, Equine Advantage, for providing Jazzy's feed and make her look beautiful. And if you want to get some more information, follow the Mustang Heritage Foundation, and don't forget to like and subscribe.